So, hi everyone, my name is Janet, and this is Kosh TV on YouTube. I am a registered ICU and A&E experienced nurse. Okay, well, I trained as an ICU nurse after my initial training, and then converted that into A&E. But I have other experiences as well. Okay, but I'm much more confident in A&E. And a few others. Anyway, today I am going to talk to you about abuse under the safeguarding. What is abuse? Usually, I am talking to you from the United Kingdom, England to be precise. In this part of the world, the word abuse is taken very seriously, especially when it comes under Facebook. I mean, the word abuse is just taken really seriously. So abuse basically is an individual being an individual being the words are incoming, causing an individual a harm, okay, or discomfort or an injury because you think you are in a position to do so. Okay, so it's someone of a much more power, or who has some form of advantage over the other person, melting out some form of discomfort, coercion, maltreatment, taking away some privileges with the intention of causing harm or injury. All right, that's what it is. That's me putting together all that I have read and not read into my understanding, which I know it is what it is, and then giving it to you. So we have forms of abuse. So we have the physical abuse, we have emotional, psychological abuse, we do have the organizational abuse, we do have the the neglect which also comes under abuse, financial abuse. So it takes different forms. Okay, however, if you look at it critically, if you should compare this our way of living here in the United Kingdom to probably the underdeveloped world, these acts or those acts that someone in the developed world may see as an abuse may be normal to someone from the other part of the world, because it is their way of culture, and to them that is how it has been for ages, and that is the practice they know, and that is how they know to live. So it is okay. However, these person who feel that act is their normal way of act may not have taken the trouble to think about the consequences of those acts after it has been melted out, or after it has been delivered to another. Let's say, for example, female mutilation, which something we've spoken about so many times, and seem to have ceased since the passing of the law. That part of the world that practice these act saw it to be the only way that a woman could be a good partner or a wife to the husband. And even if there were consequences of this act after it has been melted onto the person, they never thought it was due to the act of the female being mutilated. To them, that's the way of life. That's how the woman is supposed to live, and they've been dealing with it. Okay, so in a circumstance like this, it will take someone who has the knowledge, who has studied the act of female mutilation, its consequences, to actually pass this knowledge on to those of the other world. Okay? Okay. Now, same way, the life of a house help in some cultures. A house help lives more like a slave. A house help is more treated lesser of a human being than the others in the house. Okay, in some homes these may seem as normal, but in actual fact that is an abuse. All right, now let's take it for something like isolation. Okay, isolation takes different forms. Being isolated from people, from, let's say, family. Being isolated from colleagues at work. Sometimes it takes the form of information being held away from you, withholding information, so you don't get access to those information. In a situation like this, you become less effective in your line of work or in your line of duty, and this can be used against you. It may necessarily not be your fault. It's a tactical way of doing this. They do it in such a way that you become you then tend to be at a disadvantage, and that is later used on you. Okay, and this can get you out of job. Okay, now withholding of information, this can take some other forms as well. Let's say you belong to a family and you are away or mostly away. Things that are happening in the family is kept away from you. The ongoings is kept away from you. You are in line to inherit some property, or this is more common when you go to the developing world. And these information that are supposed to be made available for you to communicate effectively with a family is taken away from you. So you do not know what's going on. And sometimes they can even use your partner against you. They can use your husband or your wife against you. They get him or her into the group. So these information are held away from you. Things meant for you are taken away from you. And in doing so, when you start to resist or fight, you can be termed as mentally incapable, because information that is known to every member of the family are likely to be put to you, and you may not be able to answer such questions. In such situation, you can be termed as mentally ill. I mean, you can be labeled with any illness at all, and that puts you at a disadvantage. So you see how the abuse work. Abuse can be great. It can be very complex. It has to, sometimes it takes the form that it is such a form that you need to be really up to date, intelligent, emotionally intelligent, to actually fish out these informations. Because abuse is not always physical, and it's not always seen. A group of people can make you feel that you are inadequate, because of a group you belong to can make you feel inadequate because of the information they have and you do not have. It may not be your fault. Never think it's your fault. Probably you started the group. Probably it's your brain, and they want to take that from you. Could be a club, like the Kinte of Expert Club International, like this. They can team up to take those from you, because you bring out the information, they've got the information, you're trying to get them involved to talk to them. They are not making themselves available. However, they are probably meeting somewhere, and that club that you have started, or that institution you have started, may be taken away from you. That is a form of abuse, and that is fraud as well. So abuse takes different forms. You may not know it coming. You may not know when it is being melted out. You can be abused in a way, and then later they tend to love you. They tend to tell you, oh, it's a joke, or it's meant to be a play. And then you take a step back. You think, okay, that's what all it is. And then it happens again. So you see how it works? Sometimes those doing it are in very high authority. People very knowledgeable. The best way to combat this, ask questions when you can, because sometimes you are not given the opportunity to ask questions. You may not have the chance to ask questions. You may not have the you may not have or they do not make it easy for you to ask questions, because as soon as you try to speak, excuses are made and everyone leaves. So you don't get the chance to ask questions. I lost a sister though she had medical conditions. Her medical condition was made worse through abuse, through the same circumstances. You'll be surprised who are involved in this. So we need to be very careful. Health workers, we need to be very vigilant, because it's not always obvious, like in terms of bruises, cuts. and broken bones. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes they do it for you to feel ill. Making accessing of medical facilities or medical treatment difficult for you is a form of abuse. So if you do not, you may be trying and not getting, and you have gotten fed up and you decide to do things your own way or try privately to treat yourself, and then it comes back to you, it hits you, and they would say you are the one not cooperating. In other words, you are the one refusing treatment. Meanwhile, they have made it for you to feel unhappy. They've made it for you to feel, I wouldn't say unhappy, they've made it difficult for you to assess what you need. Sexually, someone could sexually abuse you and later term it as you wanted it. Later try to be your friend. You may be in a difficult situation or be vulnerable at that time. They sexually abuse you and they make it seem like it was something that was initiated consensually, and that may not be the case. The person may have a bigger voice. So safeguarding vulnerable adults. These issues run deeper than we think. They run deeper than we think. Sometimes it may be in a form of you raising the issue, but because probably you are in a position to actually expose something, you can be ignored. And when you seem to resist, you can be labeled. So safeguarding, abuse and the safeguarding runs deep. It runs deep. People of authority are doing it. Pastors are doing it. Pastors are involved. Sometimes in the medical profession, it happens. Using someone for a study or research without their consent, doing it covertly without their consent, is a form of abuse. It is a form of abuse. To the best of my knowledge, any research, any form of study, there has to be a consent, there has to be a written agreement, papers have to be signed, documents have to be signed. But we live in a world with this technology advancement, people may be used without their consent. Probably because they do not want to pay what should be yours. So abuse runs deep. My fellow health workers, let's be very vigilant. When someone comes to you jittery, someone comes to you irritable, someone comes to you anxious, Someone comes to you with bruises. You see a child with a fracture. You see a child with unexplained bruise, unexplained cut. Take the trouble to investigate. Take the trouble to find out. If you're unsure, get in touch with the safeguarding team. They are there to help. If you see it in the community, it is the NSPCC. Just type the NSPCC onto your phone. Their number will come up. You report it. So today is a different time for Nurse Janet. Thank you for listening. Please share. Let's spread the word. Okay? I pray that the developing world will take some of these things seriously. It would keep down a lot of medical emergencies in our hospitals. It would reduce some mortality rates in our hospitals and health facilities. It will also keep us on our toes, because things like this are made known. Then the health professionals take it as their responsibility to learn, gain the knowledge, update themselves, and they will make the world a better place. As they always say, little drops of water makes an ocean. Till I come your way again, I say, remember, you and your community are responsible for your well-being. So make it a positive. Make it a habit to be a positive impact or influence wherever you are. Till I come your way again, I say, keep healthy and bye-bye.